Welcome to an example tombs of Amascut 150. Basically, the gear I'm running right now is full bandos with a Blood Fury and Fang and Fire Cape. Ancestral, Sang, Prims, Light Bear. You can run Arams with a Trident. You can also run Obsidian. And if you don't have Crystal and Bofa set up, then you could also run Blessed Hide, Dragon Crossbow with Dragon Ruby enchants, as well as a Blowpipe with Dragon Darts. Plenty of skills, probably about 2k plus I'd say, and that's about it. You can be Venomed in this raid. You're going to want a Sanfu Serum, a Serpentine Helm, or basically anti-venom. So I chose to bring a Sanfu, and you can choose to do any of three, but you don't need all three. Bring a Bandos Godsword if you have it over a Dragon Warhammer. It's more accurate here against all of the bosses. The Obelisk is weak to Crush, so if you have Crush, you can use a Dragon Warhammer there, but honestly, I would just bring this because it's better on all the demi-bosses. I have a Torture here, and a Cult, a Ceratoman Cape here, and obviously the Avernic Defender. You can use a Dragon Defender. For supplies, I'm going to run 2 Prayer Pots, and then 2 full Divine Bastions. Divine combat and ranging. And the reason why you don't want to run a bastion actually is because you can get the defense from here to stack with the buff of the ranged, so it's kind of more worth just to have these two rather than just bring a bastion pot. Save a lot of money doing that, and make sure you have plenty of supplies, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat these like this, and then that'll recover my HP, but I'm buffed. And then I'll overheal and wash it down with the stamina so that I'm even stamina buff. So then I'm gonna move quickly here. Be sure to have a pickaxe in this raid. If you don't, you can grab a pickaxe and put it in. So what I just did there is called pre-potting. And you're going to want to pre-pot for raids above level 200, I would say. Depends on where you struggle, but if you want to, you can pre-pot anytime you'd like. This room, there's a water container. Just grab it, and then go to the waterfalls on each side. There are a couple tricks here. So, you can line up on this pillar here, on the tile that I marked, and then run across. You can do that only at certain intervals, but it works most of the time. And the same thing for here. But instead, the acid's coming, so I sidestep and then run. We're going to do the same thing. Periodically, these crocodiles are going to come out and nip at your tree. They can also attack you with melee. It's not a big deal. I chose to bring Ice Barrage for it, but I seem to not be quick enough this time, so we'll just do another water run. You can see it spawn 2 now. If a lot of them appear, it can be kind of annoying, but if you're quick enough, it won't really happen. This boss, I would choose to fight with ranged, but you can fight him with any style. It's easier to fight him with ranged, so highly recommend doing that. Wait for him to attack, and then pray against it. That is a magic attack. Switch to your range after BGSing. Make sure that he attacks first, then you hit him. This is a ranged attack. So the rock, you're always going to want to be praying range. And camp this book. If you don't camp this book, you are probably going to die. You can't eat through his damage. Most of the things in this raid, you cannot eat through their damage. So camp this book. It'll be your best friend. So he chose to spit out the rocks. What you do with these rocks is you pay attention to the boss, kind of like Jad, and his healers. But you push the rock and then shoot at it. So now I'm safe behind this rock. And I'm safe for a good distance, like even if I'm here, I'm safe. This is self-explanatory. Waves are coming towards you. Move in the spots that the waves are not at. Pretty fun mechanic if you ask me. It can get pretty hard to dodge those when a lot of the mechanics stack up against you. Push this diagonal into the rocks, it'll automatically explode for you. His health reaches about 200, he's going to become enraged. This means he's going to attack quicker and switch styles more quickly. You don't want to be standing near those red things, they will heal him and do massive amounts of damage to you. The second one we're going to do is the Path of Scarabus, just east of our entrance that we came through. There are two choices. You can go through which one you like, but be warned, it will be randomized. So it won't be the same as the one that I'm going to show you right now. Although, the puzzles will be the same puzzles, but not in the same order as the ones that these ones are in. Press this button that's in every room. I have a plugin on called Tombs of Amascut by Lemon Demon, or LL Demon, on RuneLite. So, it shows me how much I need to add up to do the puzzle. It asked me to add to 29 in their language, but I can't be bothered. So, this puzzle is a puzzle of luck. You come in and shoot it. If rocks fall, you shot the wrong one. So this is the right one. It's glowing. But we have to be quick. Oh, I shot the wrong one. So we know that this is the right one, and then this is the right one. And it'll always be in a random order, so it won't be the same as the one you saw. But it will be easy to do like the one you saw, because your attack speed is uncapped when you do this. So if you have a ranged weapon like I do, you can just click them all rapidly after lighting the first one, and then figure out the puzzle. Some people struggle with this. My recommendation is to slow down and to do it one at a time after you find the one that's lit. And remember the ones that you haven't hit. This puzzle is easy. As you can see, I flipped them all to realize which locations the symbols were at. They're color coded with this plugin, and then you match the symbol or the name or the color, whichever one you choose. And by that I mean the plugin highlights all of them. So, if you're at this boss, you're going to want to use your ranged gear, or sorry, your melee gear. Swap. Jeez. Come on in. Make sure you're potted up. Go ahead and spec him if you have a fang. This guy is weak to stab. You're gonna have to constantly be moving. Once you see flies arrive on your character's body, you'll be flung against the wall and this line will appear in the room, making it so that you can no longer go there. You can't walk over them. It's a place that is now forbidden to walk. So, we just got his first health bar down, which means that he will be spawning help to help defeat us. Pray missiles, and then defeat the one guy that is spawned, unless if you have overlords enabled, the more overlords one, then there will be more. But for the sake of this easy raid demonstration, I chose to not enable them. These are healers, and the things falling from the roof will deal massive damage to you if you choose to stand still. So make sure you are always moving every time his health bar is drained, otherwise you are going to be hit pretty hard. You will know where it's going to deal damage to by seeing the shadow underneath of where you are standing. That's a signifier for you to move positions to go to the next tile and then attack the boss. Once you see that shadow, click, and then walk. The flies again, so we're going to stand next to the wall when we see these flies. And the reason why is because it'll stack the dung on top of itself. So, there's only a max amount that the dung can do this, like 4 or 5 times I think. However, it makes it so that the room is easier to walk around in. I'd recommend that you pray melee when this phase happens, and attack the mage. You cannot pray mage against this attack that this mage will do to you, but it will instantly kill you. So make sure you kill it and chase it around the room until it is dead, and pray melee. As well as juke the guys that are coming from the roof, unless if you feel like taking massive damage. The fight can sometimes go into the boss fight, and that's fine. Just ignore the boss and take down the minions and dodge the boss's projectiles. Here, I can pray missiles, because these guys that spawn in from these eggs are actually going to attack with ranged. So, I can take a lot less damage from them by just praying ranged. So, we are coming into our last mechanic. When he gets to the point where you kill him, he will hit you with poop walls. So, make sure once you get the health bar down to the last shield, like now you can attack his health bar, he will do the down wall. So be prepared for that. Because it's pretty bad when you fill the entire room. You fill the entire room, almost a guaranteed wipe. You can drop your supplies here. Grab these stuff in here. They're also in the room. I'm going to drop them here. And then grab supply. So, the red ones, melee. You're going to want to attack it with mage. They're weak to magic. This mage is weak to ranged. And this is weak to stab. The green. but he attacks with ranged. And you can basically color code them like red is melee, right? So this isn't really going to attack me and do any damage. But the same with these blue ones actually, because they're summoned by the shaman and they attack with melee. So the other blue ones are mages, so don't get them confused. When you see the mechanics appear in the room, like the red skull on the pillar, you've got to go repair. And so does everybody else if you're in a duo or a trio and so on and so forth. These vents will glow from time to time, and you'll see this skull appear above it. You just use the potion on it. By pouring the potion, it'll go away, and if there's multiple people in the room, they all have to do the mechanic. Blood Barrage is very good for clearing groups as well as healing. Again, just remember the combat triangle, so these are rangers, and they can't hit me anymore. I wouldn't recommend switching prayers, I would just bang them because they have very low HP. Those are mages. You can kill them very easily using the ranged armor that you brought and ranged weapon. If you brought Ice Barrage, you can Ice Barrage these things to prevent them from moving for a long period of time, and then take them out. That was an exploder, and he just exploded for massive damage. However, I dodged it by moving away from him. All you really have to do is wait for them to approach you and then run. Now, I've been venomed. So, to prevent taking damage from my next venom, I'm gonna drink my Sanfu serum. And I'll just be simply poisoned. When you find that you're taking a lot of damage, you could usually prevent it simply by praying melee, and taking out everything else that is not using the melee attacks on you. So in some instances there will be rangers, just take out the rangers and pray melee against these other things. Right now I'm taking out the shamans to prevent more spawns. Then I'm going to heal using Blood Barrage. We've gone into the next wave now, so I'm going to freeze this thing immediately. And like I said, take out the things that don't hit you with melee. So this green guy here. And the shaman will attack you with ranged if there's enough enemies on your screen. Like that. That green projectile was a ranged attack. So be wary of that. And over here we have some trouble. These are the exploders, all three, and you'll know that is the last wave once you see them all. And you can see you can dodge them by simply just walking away. Just like most fights in your life. So, the great thing about having Blood Barrage is that you can actually damage yourself with your pots to get your buffs, and then heal up off of the minions that he spawns, and you'll get a very serious amount of HP off these guys. Very good. We're gonna cure ourselves with our Sanfu. We don't have any more of those, so we have to be careful to not be venomed if you don't have Sanfu, because it can be very bad for you in this room without an anti-venom. And this is the room that you bring it for. So, once you find yourself in this room with this weird slant, make sure that you get yourself into your melee gear, pot up, as well as have Protect from Melee ready, and Piety. If you don't have that, you can simply just use the brain and the muscle. And honestly, this boss is not that hard. The hardest thing about him is that he'll spawn stuff that makes you have to move, like that shadow, and these rocks. You have to be next to these rocks when he throws the rock at you, like that, or you will die.
He will periodically jump away when he reaches a small amount of health taken from him, like 30% each time, I believe. 35 or so, I'm not sure. So here he spawns rocks that will fall Indiana Jones style. What you want to do is attack the one with the crack in it with your blowpipe or with your crossbow. I would recommend using a crossbow because blowpipe will bring you really close to them, whereas a crossbow will get it from afar. There's a trick where you can run through them if you're quick enough. I'll show you that the next time. These shadows are an indicator of a stomp attack. Just make sure you move diagonal every time you see that. I got fortunate enough to get a rock spawn on me. Use your fangs on that one. They're very, very good here. So, he's chosen to do his jump attack again. These baboons here are going to hit you with range, so if you really want to, you can pray ranged against them. And that is the move right there, where you get through. The reason why that works is because your character is actually a few tiles ahead of where you see them visually. So you technically in the game's code were through that before it came up. It may look really weird though. So, the boss has died, and that's a very easy Baba. He doesn't hit you often when you have bandos or higher level defense, so just go through it with piety, which will help even more, and stab him down. The last path I like to do on my 150s is the het path. So you can switch to your ranged gear. You're wondering, did you forget about his supplies? No, I didn't. I'll show you why I didn't open my supplies. Because I need inventory space for the puzzle. So, this shield needs to be hit by this laser over here. So, we use the mirrors to face the shielded guy, and it can hit him or the shield. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here. I'm actually gonna replace this one, to be honest, because I have a setup here with this mirror that'll work great, where it'll fly through. Make sure you rotate them so they're facing each other. So, a good tip for beginners, whoops, don't do that. So a good tip is this is the way we want the mirror, so it'll be like that. But you can do it right after it shoots, push it, and then run. You can set up now to one tick the obelisk. If you have 85 mining, you can get this down in one click if you do it perfectly the way I've done now, so it should just go away right here. And you can watch that back to see the timing if you'd like. So, you're thinking, is he gonna pot up because you just heard his pots go down? I'm gonna drop the pots. He's crazy. No, I'll show you. So the smelling salts. The smelling salts are overloads, but they don't hurt you. And they give you more than overloads give you. So they're super juiced up overloads. So, this is the hardest boss here. His name is Akka. He can be pretty painful. What I'd recommend is remembering that the prayers start on melee, they go into ranged, and then they go into magic. So, if you want to remember it easily, it goes left each time. You can know when to switch prayers when the boss slams his spear into the floor, like so, indicating that I would have to pray missiles next time I see him. So for this, just remember the pattern that goes onto the floor, and then repeat the pattern. So, use melee once you're into the range phase, and then we'll be into the mage phase.
Let's stand here. Because Akka is white, he will have a shadow that is attackable. Gotta pray magic, and then go to the white one, the red one. Uh-oh. White. Yellow. A good thing to note is that all of these discs here on the floor, each corner of this disc, will have different effects when you get hit by those shadow effects. Like, hit me that time, but the fire effects, the ice, and the lightning effects are all different. So be careful when you get hit by the floor tiles, because some of them will disable your prayer, some of them will burn you, some of them will take your energy away. Some of them are just quite brutal in general, so just be very careful. What I would do is I would go there early, like I've done now, and then just remember the pattern, and simply walk the way I'm walking now. And remember, once you do the magic phase, it'll go back to the beginning. So it'll go this way, like that, repeatedly. So every time you do this boss, it's going to be the same, unless if you put on the invocation where he randomly changes, and in that case you have to react to his overhead prayer to know what he's going to hit you with. So we're going to run there early, and remember that it's now white, then it is going to be yellow, and then it's going to be white again. So we can run back over white. But we're going to want to be on yellow again ultimately here. Pray missiles, because it is actually melee phase. You can use your Bandos Godsword here on him. It's usually very good, but I would not use it very often because you want to save your spec for when his health bar goes to 0. And I'll show you why later. So he just slammed his spear again, so that means he's going to attack with magic next. And we know previously that he is weak to range during that time. So, you're seeing here on the wall in a little hourglass. I'll show you on the other ones there. See how the white guys have the hourglasses they're staring at? If that fills up, you're gonna have a bad time if you're standing on that sector of the plate or watch or whatever this is. So you're gonna pray magic when his health bar drains, and you're gonna be very careful of these things. You can get approximately 3 hits in on him, and then he will move. My recommendation is that you can actually right click him like this and hold on to the attack button and then click it when he moves. It'll path you to him automatically, making it a lot easier for you. Great tip for beginners. Here I'm going to take the life tree. So, going to take out everything I want out of here. The ambrosia can go here. I'm going to sip that because I am overloaded. The overload will actually jump my stats back up, as you just observed right there. I like to have my adrenaline next to where my DDS is because you need a DDS for this phase. If you did not bring a DDS and I did not mention it, I'm sorry. Just make sure you do bring one. It's going to have an obelisk in the middle that you have to attack now, and it's going to spawn skulls from each side. Choose one side, and then block about 10 of them. I'd say 7 to 10 of them, and then just let them flow. Sidestep the UFOs. You can attack them with ranged if you'd like during this time, and then quickly switch back to your melee weapon. Go to the middle or wherever is safe for you. You're going to notice the bars are charging on the wardens. That's going to make them have an attack come out right here. That's going to hit me for a massive amount of damage.
So, make sure you're burning up. So, this warden here has 2 attacks. When he is close to you, he can melee you, making it 3, but you just gap him in a circle here and pray against his attacks. One hand will attack you with ranged, and one hand will attack you with magic. Similarly to Jad, you can predict what he will hit you with, so just when you see what he is going to attack you with, pray against it. After you defeat him for the first time, he's going to swap into being able to attack, or be attacked with an opposite style of magic. So, switch to your magic gear. The red skulls are mage attacks, and the little rocks are missiles. Like so. When you see the rock, pray accordingly. Or, if you want to, you can react before you see the projectile by watching his hands. That attack will always come from that hand, so just watch that hand when you want to see if you need to pray against it. DDS him here and make sure that you drank your liquid adrenaline. That is very important. So, the warden is dead. So it would seem. So now we have to fight the second warden, which will spawn in 2 demigods to assist in taking me down. All you have to do is walk from tile 1, which is this row, to this row, tile 2, to tile 3, this row, and finally it will reset and you'll have to do once again tile 1, tile 2, tile 3, and so on and so forth. There are things you can do to improve this. What I would recommend is use a BGS on the boss, like so. Sometimes it can be ineffective, other times it can come in clutch. It's all RNG. If you're confused, you can also watch his hands and learn where his hands are going to damage, but I would highly recommend just getting muscle memory done with this 1, 2, 3 method, as it is actually a lot easier to survive. Pray missiles when you see the red demigod Akka appear, as he will always attack with missiles. And remember, when we met him prior, he staff bashed, or rather spear bashed, his weapon into the floor, which indicated he was going to switch styles, like that. So now, we know what he's going to attack us with, based on just watching him. Whenever we see him do that little animation of him slamming his spear into the floor, we switch to the opposite prayer. In this case, that's ranged. He will never be able to hit you with melee, so just switch back from magic to range. Kefri will now appear once you have done enough damage to the border. This is simple to avoid. Just use the columns, or rows rather, and keep Akka in sight so that you can tell when you need to change your prayers. The beetle will give you prayer regeneration. So, because I've chosen to use the beetle there, I'm gonna get a lot of prayer back. You can see it restoring right now. Akka was hitting you pretty hard there. I got low, so I used my immersion. So, for the end, I would just recommend clicking. Click the boss when you're safe, but make sure that you are clicking the boss because you do in fact need to be damaged or it's a kind of failed raid. Because if you get to the end, it becomes very difficult, and if you're not skilled enough to handle it, then it'll be very tough for you. So, you can kind of see that I'm like walking in a small circle almost. That's all you really have to do, and watch Akka, and stay on your prayer book. If you try to eat here, you can, but I would highly recommend not eating and just being on the right prayers, because it'll result in you taking a lot less damage. Let's see what we got. Ah, never lucky this time. But a cache of runes. Let's take this out. 2,000 soul runes. That's 600,000. Plus the 400,000 that we made from our raid. So that was a clean 1 mil raid. Anyway, if you do in fact get a purple, drop it in the comments. Love to see all purples. Take care, and any suggestions for a better raid video in the future, or a higher level raid video in the future, then let me know.